Hi everyone, and welcome back to my Lawn Bowls for Fun channel. I'm here on a bowling green as the green is finally open this year, albeit it's fairly limited what we can do. We are allowing 3 rinks on any one day to be used. Today we're using rinks 1, 3 and 5, and for a couple of hours we have had 3 couples playing on the green, but now they've gone, I'm on my own. And in fact, there's a couple of other members just turned up. And today I'm going to show you something which I want to demonstrate. Now, I'm sure you all know bowlers that use the bowling arm if they have some sort of disability. The one you can see here. I'm not going to demonstrate that because I'm sure you know how it works, and you probably do know someone, I know several people that use them quite effectively. But there's another piece of equipment now available, and I want to show you that. And that is the UBI Launcher, which is what I'm holding now. Now this is for people who have some sort of disability and struggle to bowl effectively. In fact, I think a good thing to do first of all is to read out some of the blurb from the website. Disability Bowls England website, which explains pretty well what this is all about. So in order for disabled participants to take part in bowls activities, it may be necessary for individuals or clubs to purchase some adaptive equipment. The UBI Launcher is a lightweight, durable piece of equipment. It weighs 40 grams or just over 14 ounces. And it's adjustable, extending from 30 inches to 48 inches. If you suffer from a bad back, bad hips or bad knees, then the UBI Launcher may be just a delivery aid that you've been looking for. Now, the same with anything like this, it takes a bit of getting used to. But I've had a few goes with this already, and I'm surprised how easy it is. So what I'm going to do now is to demonstrate to you how to use it, and then I'll explain some of the benefits in using something like this. So I think the best thing to do is for me to set up, and I'll talk through when I use the launcher, and you can see what I'm doing. I've in fact used this indoors as well before the end of the indoor season, and I'll show you what it's like for indoors as well. It's the same process. The only difference being is that the amount of power needed to send the bowl down the green is much less indoors than it is outdoors. But we'll see how we get on anyway. Now the first thing we have to do is to make sure that the length is right, because it does vary quite a bit. So you just pull it out and then you push that over so it stays in one piece. And it does suggest that it should be lined up with your sternum. This is in fact at full length at the moment, so for me that's probably about right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 bowls up now, and you can just watch me and see what you think. The first thing to do is to pick the bowl up and make sure that it's lined up depending on which line you're going to take. Now I'm going to go to the right. I'm on my forehand. Let's move these wires out of the way. You place the bowl on the green. One foot on the mat, and you place the launcher on the bowl itself. And I'm going to take a step forward when I send this bowl down the green, and the second one I won't, I'll remain stationary. Here's the first one. So that's the first bowl. Now I'll do the next one. This time I'm going to use the backhand. It's a bit tricky getting the bowl out. I'm sure you'll get the hang of it. Now I'm not going to take a step forward, I'm just going to push the bowl. It depends on whether you prefer to take a step forward or not. It depends on your balance and on what other, if you've got a bad back or hip and you prefer not to take a step forward. The two bowls I've just put down the green, I tried to put the same sort of weight on it, but by taking a step forward you give the bowl more momentum, so you may find it easier, certainly on grass, to get down the green further if you take a step forward. Although it's like anything, it's just trial and error. I'm sure if you practiced, if you prefer not to take a step forward, that you would be able to get it the full length of the green eventually. Now the advantage with this is that if you're a bowler, I can think of a few bowlers already who have been bowling many years but now have got some sort of issue with their back or their hip or knee problem, and they just can't get down low enough anymore to bowl effectively, and they're letting the bowl go almost from waist high. And of course we all know that if you do that, the bowl's going to hit the ground and it's going to slow it up considerably, and on grass you might even damage the green, so you're not going to be very popular with the green steward. The whole point of bowling is to get down as low as you can, but if you can't do that, then there's only a few options out there. The arm that I showed you earlier is one option, which has proved very popular, but they're about £150, they're not cheap, and not everybody gets on with them, although I have seen them used very effectively. The advantage with the launcher is that it's actually only £60. Well, that's the cost from Disability Bowls England, £60, and that includes postage and packing, so that's very reasonable. I have seen them on Amazon, but they're nearly £100, so be careful if you do buy one where you buy it. Go to Disability Bowls England, where they're only £60, and you'll save yourself quite a bit of money. We decided at Farnborough Bowling Club that we should get one of these so people can try it out. We have a few members now that are considering giving up bowls because they just can't get down low enough, and that would be a great shame. And if by using the launcher it keeps them in bowls, then that'll be absolutely brilliant. We'll just have to see how they get on with them though. But rather than fork out that money themselves, they can at least try the club one, which is this one, and then if they do get on with it really well, they can buy their own. The important thing is that we want to keep people, as many people into bowls as long as possible. They're very keen to continue playing, but they're getting a bit disheartened by the fact they can't get down low enough and bounce the bowl on the green, and it's causing them big problems. So if something like this works, then it's worth every penny of £60. That's why we decided that the club would buy one and try it out and let other members try it and see if it helps them to continue bowling. I've got a couple of other members here as well today, so I'm going to let them have a go. They've never used it before, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on. Down below I'll leave the details of where you can buy the UBI Launcher and any other disability equipment you might need as well. Right, so let me do 4 bowls. 2 of them I'm going to take a step forward and 2 of them I won't, just to demonstrate the 2 different ways you can use the launcher. As I said, when you put the bowl on the green, you've got to tip the launcher to get the bowl out. It's a bit tricky, but I'm getting used to it now. Place the launcher on the bowl and it remains there until you push it. You don't want to be going onto the bowl in this motion because you'll clatter against the bowl and it won't go in the right direction. So I'm going to aim down the green on my forehand. I'm going to take a step forward with this first one. Right, let's do the next one. Same idea, again on the forehand. This time I won't take a step forward. So you can see that there's not a great deal of difference. It's whether you just find taking that step forward, you might lose your balance if you don't want to do that. It's certainly doable without taking a step. Now I'm going to go the other hand. It looks like I've been experimenting a little bit, and if you're going to take a step forward, the bowl needs to be a bit further away, I think, because you're taking a step forward and then you're pushing from there. If you're not going to take a step forward, you may find that stretching a bit, so the bowl maybe should start off a bit nearer. But that's up to you to try different ways. Let's just try and get this bowl lined up first. Okay, so here we go. I'll take a step forward with this next one. Oh, I wish you could see that. That's not a bad bowl, that. I'm happy with that. But you'll notice there, I did lose my balance slightly because in fact I have a very poor balance mechanism, and taking a step forward for me is a bit of an issue. So I would like to try and get used to not taking a step forward. So let's try the next one, not taking a step forward. And so I'm going to have the bowl a bit nearer to me this time because I'm not going to take a step forward. I'm just going to get myself comfortable and push with my arm. Yeah, the result's about the same. I think it's just a case of you deciding which is best for you. This is only the second time I've used the launcher, and I think it's like anything. You just need time to get used to something. Other people I know that have used the arm, the mechanical arm, said that it's quite hard work to get used to, but you do get the hang of it. And I think that's going to be the same with this. There has been some discussion online about whether this damages the bowl in any way. I can't see how it does. I think the main problem was that if you have sand being put onto the bowling green, you can get a build-up of sand in this groove here. Well, all you've got to do is to wipe it off if you do get that. Because as you know, if you have sand on a bowling green that's been put on a bowling green and you bowl on it, the bowls do get scratched anyway. I don't see why this should make them scratch any worse than normal. But that's a good reason, maybe, if you didn't want your nice new bowls being scratched, to use some older bowls. The one big advantage with this is that it doesn't matter what size you use. It'll use everything from 00, or 3 or 4 zeros now, aren't there? Very small bowls to the very largest. And it doesn't matter what size they are at all, because this you can use any size bowls with this launcher. So if you possess an old set of bowls that you don't use, then maybe it's worth trying this first. When you're looking for new bowls to buy, or even if you're buying a second-hand set, finding the right size is sometimes can be difficult. But with this, really, size doesn't matter. I use quite small bowls, size 1s. But the bowls I'm using are size 3s. I've used this launcher, and the last time I used it, I used some size 5s, and it made no difference at all. Now, I did mention earlier that I'd used the launcher indoors before the end of the season, and so I think it's a good opportunity now just to let you have a look at the footage that I did indoors and see what you think. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to first of all send a jack down the green. Okay, I'm going to put the jack right in front of the mat. And then I'm going to place, this part here obviously does the jack, and this bit is for the bowl. you literally place the pusher on the jack, and you literally do just push the jack down the green. Quite straightforward. Now let me show you what to do with the bowl. You lift it up. You first of all have to make sure that you've got the bias in the right direction. I'm going to bowl to the right. I'm going to bowl on my forehand. And you place the bowl on the ground. You've got to make sure the bowl doesn't fall over. Now the important thing to remember is you place the U bend on the bowl, and you don't take it off again to push it, because you'll clatter into the bowl and make a bit of a mess of it. So you place that the U shape onto the bowl, and then you literally just push the bowl along like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask 2 other members of the club to have a go and see what they think, and I'll film it and I'll talk it through and see how they get on. In fact, it'll be quite fun to let them have a little game. I've got 2 sets of bowls out at the moment, a set of black and a set of orange, and we'll just see how they get on. Okay, what I've done is I have persuaded 2 members who are down here tidying up the green to have a game, and they've never used this before, so you'll have to bear with them a little bit. Now what we're doing also, let's see how that one goes, is we're using the 2-4-2 method of singles bowls. So we've got Edith up this end has placed the jack, and Michael down that end has placed the mat, and he sent his first 2 bowls up the green. There we go, look, he's spraying the handle. He's wearing gloves as well, because obviously with the COVID virus we have to be very careful. We can't share equipment normally, but they're both using gloves and they're both spraying the handle each time they change over, as we haven't got a second launcher here today. So Michael sent his first 2 bowls, as you can see, and now Edith's going to have a go. It's going to be interesting to see how they get on with no practice at all. I think that Edith's finding out what I found, that getting the thing set up initially takes a bit of getting used to. There we go. That's Edith's first bowl. Well, look, she can easily get down a green. All right, Michael, 2 yards through. Let's get a little bit nearer now. Edith's just about to bowl her second one. Because with the 2-4-2, Michael does 2 bowls, then Edith does all her 4 bowls, and then Michael will do his last 2. Oh, she nearly got the jack then. She's certainly not struggling to get down the green, is she? All right, let's go back, see her next bowl. This is her 3rd bowl coming up. Just a bit narrow that, but again, no problem with the weight. And her last bowl, she's setting it up. This is a bit mean really, getting them to play a game when they've not even had a practice. But there we go. It's just a bit of fun really. Right, let's see where this one ends up. Yeah, again, it's just the weight. She's just a bit heavy. Now it's Michael to go down, swap over. He's going to do his last 2 bowls now. And Edith swaps over. They're keeping well apart, as you can see. They're on the same rink, but they're opposite ends of the rink all the time. So we believe this is the safest form of bowls you can do at the moment. As Michael's spraying the handle again with disinfectant. No one has to touch the bowls at all. It's all done by your feet. You don't have to do what I do, where you're touching the bowl to level it up. I think that's easy myself, but you can get away with it. Except sometimes, as you saw there, the bowl falls over, and then you have to reset it. This is Michael's 3rd bowl. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, I like that. Well done, Michael. Yeah, very good. And now Michael's last bowl coming down this way. I think I showed you an easier way of setting it up than Michael's using his feet, but he's not done this before, so it's just trial and error really. And that's his last bowl. Let's see where this one ends up. Well, that's a pretty good bowl, that. Look at that. He's got a toucher. Well done, Michael. So that's the first end, 2 for Michael. Now they're going to bowl back the other way, and you can see what happens with the 2-4-2. Michael's now placed the jack down this end, and he's responsible for the mat and the jack up this end of the green. But of course, the only thing is, in a normal game, he would just stay there. But he's got to take the pusher back for Edith to put her first 2 bowls up, because she has to place the mat as well. So she'll only ever touch the mat and the jack down that end of the green, and Michael's responsible for the mat and jack up this end. Right, so Edith set up the mat. She's going to send her first 2 bowls down the green. Here comes the first one. Yeah, it's a good start. Just a little bit wide, but level with the jack. And now she's just about to play her second bowl. This 2-4-2 really works actually, because there's no mixing up of mats and jacks at all. Here comes Edith's second bowl. She's running a bit fast, this one. It's a lovely line. Good effort. So here we go. They're now swapping over again. So Michael's now going to put up all of his 4 bowls. You see he's spraying the handle. Make sure it stays safe. He's wearing a nice black glove as well. I don't know where he got that from. This wasn't planned for, this was just done off spec, so they're doing really well considering I've thrown them in the deep end. So Michael's first of his 4 bowls. There we go. Oh, I tell you what, it's not a bad bowl, is it? Just a little bit short. He's still 1 down now. He won't like that. He'll try harder this time. I have to say, they're doing brilliantly well considering they've never used this before. So you can see that for someone that's never used it, you can actually get reasonable results the very first time you use it. Just imagine if you practiced it for a couple of weeks. Oh, very good. Look at this. Excellent. Yeah, he's got 1 now. And now Michael's last bowl. Doesn't our green look lovely? Look at that, isn't it lovely up here? It's a nice sunny afternoon with some puffy clouds around as well. Oh, missed it. Sorry, here we go. Here comes Michael with his last bowl. Just a bit wide, slightly short. And now it's Edith's turn to play her last 2 bowls. I think Michael's holding 1. Oh no, he's holding 2 seemingly. So I think Michael's going to be the winner of this game unless Edith can get her last 2 bowls on that jack. Yeah, it's a bit tricky, isn't it, Edith, to get that bowl in the right position. It takes a bit of getting used to. I've got it down to a fine art now. Well, actually, not quite that, but yeah, just a bit wide, Edith. Good effort though. Good try. Last bowl. Last bowl of the game. Who's going to be the launcher champion? At the moment, it looks like it's Michael. Oh, good try. Very good try. You'll set for 1. So Michael's the champion. Well done, guys. Well bowled. You did well there. Highly impressed. So yeah, Michael and Edith were sort of thrown in the deep end there somewhat. I didn't give them any time to practice. I just said, come on, get on with it, have a game. And we just talked it through, and they were both happy the way they were bowling. And they both feel that with a bit of practice, it could be quite good. Now, Michael also tells me that he went to South Africa last year with Bowls England. One of the guys from Bowls England was using a launcher, and apparently he was using it very, very effectively. So I've not seen one in a game yet. They're still very new, so you won't see many around, but that proves that they are being used, and being used very effectively. Yeah, so thanks guys for doing that. So it's a bit naughty of me to ask you to play something with something that you've never used before, but you just proved that with no practice at all, it's reasonably effective, and with a bit of practice, I'm sure you could do really well. So that was excellent. So what do I think of the UBI Launcher? Well, I think it's a wonderful piece of equipment, and for such a cheap price, if it keeps bowlers bowling for a few more years, or hopefully for many years, then it's worth every penny. Like anything though, there's a bit of a learning curve, but I'm pretty certain there are people I know would benefit from using something like this. Either the mechanical arm, which I know is successful with those that I've seen use it, or this, which in a way is even easier to use. Because I find with the mechanical arm, the few times I've used it, if you don't get the trigger right at the right moment, it doesn't work very well. I'm sure if you practiced it, it'd be fine. But with this, it's just practicing that step forward, or if you're not taking a step forward, practicing pushing that bowl along the green at the right speed. It's actually, I found when I've used it, it's reasonably easy to find the line, but getting the length right is the hardest bit, but that would come with practice. And I think for just £60, it's a marvellous piece of equipment. And if it does keep people in bowls for many more years, then it's worth every penny. So I would suggest you find someone that's got one and try it out, or come to Farmer Bowling Club if you're nearby and come and have a go with ours. You're quite welcome to. And that's it for me. This lovely sunny afternoon at Farmer Bowling Club. I'll see you again soon. Look after yourself, keep safe, and hopefully start bowling and enjoy it soon. Okay, bye for now.